Hi, this is Learn With Me, where I try to write a subgenre of music that I've not attempted to write before. Today I am trying liquid funk, also known as liquid drum and bass. Characteristics are usually groovy and soulful bass lines, emphasis on melody and harmonic structure, and soothing atmospheres. Artists such as Calibre, LSB, London Electricity, New Tone are just some of the artists I've been listening to for inspiration for this. I'll be using Ableton Live for this session. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is put the BPM up to 170. I'm also going to create a MIDI track and start going through some of the drum sounds we have here. Ooh, I like that. That sounds cool. First, I'm going to create a hi-hat part. In fact, what I'd like to do is just do that standard drum and bass beat and see how it sounds with this kit. I kind of kept the kick drums to a minimum, but just keep that snare on the 2 and the 4. But yeah, I already liking the sound of this. Maybe let's add some shakers in there as well. That can be the kick that we hear as soon as we hit the drop. I think what I'm going to try to do is start off with this kind of soothing atmosphere, create this kind of ambient intro. And I like the idea of doing that with the guitar and using some of these pedals that I've got down here. I love the idea of using my Old Blood Dark Light, which is essentially like 2 delay pedals in one. I've used it on some of the videos before, but it really helps create those textures that I'm looking for this. Let's go a little bit crazy and activate the avalanche run as well. And I've got this set to the reverse, so we should get some extra little kind of notes in there. Yeah, that's sounding cool. I want to add a 3rd chord in there though, I think, to add some more interest. So I'm going to go straight in and record this in. What I'm going to do is simplify this drum beat actually, because it's a little bit distracting. Yeah, with the click going as well. I'm also going to finger pick it as well. Yeah, that sounds really nice. I think I'm going to change the pitch though, so rather than being an octave low, I'm going to see how it sounds pushing it an octave higher. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Right, let's try go ahead and record this. While I've got this all set up, I'm going to try do another guitar part, more like a lead part over the top, and to see what I can come up with. I want to change the tone slightly, or maybe I'll just change my pickup. Let's go with brighter. Right, let's try to record that in. I'm not sure about that melody, and I'm also not sure about being so bright. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to get the rhythm pickup, And I'm going to try maybe come up with something slightly different. I'm going to keep that though. Might be something in that as well. I feel like once everything comes in, I'm definitely going to go back and maybe try come up with a bit of a melody on guitar. But for now, let's go back into Ableton. So first, let's actually remove the hi-hat part because we don't need it for now. And let's just hear how this guitar sounds. Let's fade that in. Let's also move the second guitar part over and we'll add a fade to that as well. I'm also going to pan the second guitar part to the right, just a tiny bit. I'm also going to bring the hi-hat back in this section, and I probably need to change the velocities as well so it's a bit quieter. I also like this little ring out on the guitar, on the very first guitar, so I want to maybe have that soloed just before the next section. Okay, yeah, that could be cool. So let's then copy this all again for that drop. And maybe let's hear that guitar, because maybe we can keep this bit once it drops. Yeah, that's a good start, I think, so far. Now I want to find a bass line. I'm going to go on the monologue, and just go through some of the presets and see if I can find something that's quite subby, drum and bass sounding. With a bit of tweaking, this one might be okay. Changing resonance. That sounds pretty good. Add a bit of drive to it. Not too much. Cool, let's figure out the notes. Like it's not drum and bassy enough. Yeah, it's almost there, but it needs that wobble. I mean, changing the cutoff kind of works actually, so maybe we will go with that. Let's record that for now. We can always go back and do it again. Okay. Fits quite nicely. What I want to do is go to my plugins and find the plugin that I always use, which is the Waves Magma BB tubes. I'm going to push the beauty up probably to 5, beast all the way to 5, and then we're going to use the bass relief, which is really good because it doesn't affect all the low end, and it will, because if you keep that down, it starts to distort. It doesn't sound that nice. So you want to use the bass relief. And then what I want to do is sidechain the kick drum and the bass line. So every time you hear that kick, and maybe even the snare, it drops down a bit. So to do that, I'm going to use the glue compressor. Open it up, click sidechain, and then select the Atom kit. If we start playing that, lower threshold. We also want to enable the EQ mode on the compressor and select only listen for lower end frequencies so the hi-hat doesn't affect the bass line. What I want to do is go to my guitars and put a low cut on them as well, just to clean, so the mix is a bit cleaner. Yeah, that sounds good. And then do the same to the other guitar. And it will also thin out the intro, so when the drop comes, it will sound a lot bigger. And then for the second loop round, I'm going to double them hi-hats up, which seems to be quite a common thing with drum and bass in general. Tend to be 16ths, I think, generally. I'm going to lower the velocity of these hi-hats as well because they're a little bit in your face. I'm also going to add the BB tubes to the drums as well. Put that bass relief on as well. I feel like the bass isn't grabbing me much, so I'm going to go back to this and try find maybe another sound to use. I actually already prefer that. I'm going to keep the original bass we have there, just so we've got it. Let's keep trying other sounds. Yeah, that might work. Let's try record this in. That sounded really good. I'm just going to loop those first 4 bars because I think I kind of nailed it with that. I'm also going to copy over the manga and the compressor to this new... Oh, they're already on it. Of course. Let's hear both bass lines together. Obviously, we want to add a low cut to one of them. Let's add a low cut to the first one we recorded in because I think the low end's a little bit better, I think. Lower the level of the original a bit. Yeah, I kind of like the idea there's a dead stop on that last snare hit on the bass. And also that last note is a little bit too loud. I'm going to copy that last section from the very last take because I think I actually played it better and it didn't have that high. I'm not liking that, the octave high bit at the very end. And then also add that gap for that when the last snare hits. Yeah, I think I like that. What I'd like to do is move the guitars so it just starts with the drums and the bass line and then bring the guitars back in slowly. Move these. Maybe when the hi-hats come in. I think after the guitars have come in for maybe like 8 bars or so, or 16 bars, drop them out and just make the drum beat a lot heavier and make the bass a lot heavier and almost like a new section, and then also have more kick drums as well, so we have that kind of sound. What I'm going to do is create another MIDI channel and bring in another drum kit and layer these drums a bit as well for this section. that's very interesting sounding. Let's try that. Let's add some distortion to this second kit. I mean, that's almost quite a lot on its own, isn't it? I'm going to use Isotope's Trash. Oh, I don't have it installed on this computer. How strange. Well, let's try use this MDMX fuzz. And just go through some of the presets. Oh yeah, that's sounding heavy. What I want to do is get that kick drum and just tune it to the same key as the song. It actually kind of sounds in tune already, so I'm actually going to leave that. That was a mistake, but that sounded pretty cool. Let me just... There's something in this. I'm just going to move it around a bit. Yeah, that's cool. That's sounding really cool. And I think for this one, I want to make it sound a bit glitchy. So I'm going to take out some of these extra notes. So it's like do-do-do-do-do. We need to go a bit more extreme with this. Take out all those little... This is almost like 16ths. It's almost like Skrillex's Rumble. And then for the second bit, do the same thing with the hi-hats, but make the hi-hats 16ths. Just lower the velocity for these ones a bit. I might see if I can change that hi-hat sound. I'm also going to drop out those 16th hi-hats to match the bass. In fact, I'm going to do it every time. And actually, for this first drop, maybe cut out the drums as well. Cut everything out, actually, just before the drum. What was this other guitar part that I wrote before? This kind of works. And what I want to do is cut bits out with that little glitchy bit as well. So it kind of gels a bit better. What I'm going to do is cut everything out and just have that guitar note. Make it a bit glitchy here. Now I think after this glitchy ending, I'm going to bring back the guitar chords. And I kind of want to change it up a bit. I kind of want to have a bit of a mix so it's not just like 3 sections looped. So what I'm going to first do is bring back the original chords. Maybe let's see what it's like when I bring back the first drum pattern. I think what I'd like to do is duplicate this, because I play the part twice. Because I played that very first part for so long, I'm going to take the second half of it and place it over the first half so we can create this really nice stereo image. Yeah, that's cool. I'm just going to duplicate this last bar so it makes it sound a bit glitchy. What I'm going to do, now I've moved that around, is I'm going to go back on guitar and try come up with like a new melody to go over this. I'm going to go down to the dark light and change the pitch mode to crush, which is almost like a bit crusher mode. Oh yeah. Let's also turn off the second delay part on that. Added some overdrive to it as well. What I also want to do is use my synthesizer SY1. I've not used on this video series before, but right now I've got it set to a pad, so it should emulate like a pad sound. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so let's try record something in and see what I can come up with. Cool. Yeah, I did a little bit at the end there that I think I can just loop to add an extra texture. I'm also going to lower the low cut a little bit on this new guitar part. I think what I also want to do is, for this, how I've made this guitar part stereo, I kind of wondering if I should make the intro like that as well. Yeah, I've kind of messed around with the intro a bit there, and I think it sounds a little bit glitchy and interesting, and it goes from stereo to mono, and then when it goes to mono, there's kind of like there's that kind of tiny, I've kept a tiny bit at the end that I've just looped loads of times. Now, just how to finish this. What I'm going to do is copy the third section, which is that heavy section, and use this as a base for the outro. I've just extended the outro a little bit and cleaned it up, so I'm going to jump on guitar and try come up with a new part for this section. Okay, so I've got that part, and what I want to do is chop it up so it matches these gaps that we have. I'll quickly do that. I think for this last section I'm going to take out the 2 and the 4, and then once we get to this bit I'm just going to have it at 16ths again to match below. And I really want each little sample to sound slightly different. I don't want to be lazy with it and just copy the first bar. I've realised that I've spent ages chopping all that up, and I realised I probably could have done it easily with a filter and automation, but oh well. I think what I want to do before we finish, I want to have another look at that lead guitar, because I feel like it's a little bit harsh. So I'm just cutting off some of that high end. I also want to smooth out this little transition a bit at the end here. Maybe I'll just copy and loop this as well. Just make it a little bit glitchy. And I think for this starting bass, I like the idea that it just stays on that first note for the first few bars. I'm also wondering now, hearing it again, I think it needs to be heavier. It kind of needs to be thicker. So what I'm going to do is group these. Let's name it for ease. Call it bass. And I want to have a look at some plugins that maybe we can throw on here to really thicken it up. We've already used the BB Tubes, which is always my go-to. I'm going to try use Berserk on this, which is a Waves plugin. And just flick through some of the presets here. Quite like that. Doesn't really work with those high notes though. I think I just maybe need to put a high cut on it and take out some of those higher frequencies. I think that's what's bothering me about it. I want to do more with this kind of line we have here. I'm using this thing called Raw, which I've never used before. It's actually sounding pretty cool. I'm going to try add some reverb to this as well. Yeah, that sounded pretty cool. I think I'm going to leave it there. I think if I could go back, I probably would have maybe created it more in a major scale. But I'm stuck with it now. So I'm going to have a listen. I'm just going to add some O's and 11 over the top. Just pick a preset for ease. And we'll have a listen. there we go. I think the first thing I'd say I would probably shorten the outro. I felt like that was a little bit long, but I think it's an interesting start. It's been really fun to dive into this. I've worked on projects in the past that might have a bit of drum and bass influence, but it's never been anywhere near the realms of liquid funk or liquid drum and bass. So it's been really nice to dive deep into this. I would obviously do things slightly differently now, I think. Now I've tried it. Would probably make it a bit more happy, maybe a little bit less abrasive, I think. I think maybe that's the issue with this one, and maybe that's what makes it differ and maybe makes it sit slightly out of the liquid drum and bass genre, is the fact it is, yeah, a little bit abrasive at times. But overall, really fun to get into. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time.